So, I'm on the road again. I got sick of stagnating in Kyogle. Not a great deal happening there. Not a great deal to do. Been to everywhere to eat in town, and so I thought, bugger it. Packed up the van, packed up the ute, and decided to head north. Now, I didn't stop until I was on the Sunshine Coast. The freeway from Tweed Heads up to Brisbane, it's just a nightmare at the best of times. Traffic in Brisbane can be as bad as traffic in Melbourne, sometimes even worse. And the traffic from Brisbane on the freeway going north, that can be as bad as the southern freeway. So I didn't stop until I got to the Sunshine Coast. That was my plan. And the first stop was Eumundi. And there I was outside the Imperial Hotel in Eumundi. I used to work there 36 years ago. It's very different now to what it was then. Back then, it was full of hippies having a great time. They had a pool table, pool comp Wednesday nights. They even won it a couple of times. Not that I can play pool. Pretty out of practice now, that's for sure. But anyway, I thought, what the hell? I'm here. It's dinner time. Try that chicken parmigiana. There wasn't a great deal of people there, so I didn't think it would take too long. But there was one big table. Now, big tables can really throw out the timing in a kitchen because you're just totally occupied trying to get out one big table doing 1,000 things at once. So the parmigiana took 25 minutes. Okay, big table. I can understand that. I'm not going to complain about waiting 25 minutes when they had a massive great table there. Back when I was cooking down in Wangaratta one time, we had 5 tables of 20 people turn up at the same time. It was horrible. Everyone complaining that their meals were taking so long. What the bloody hell do they expect? No one had bookings or anything. They just all turned up. Anyway, that's a little bit of a whinge. So the parmigiana, 27 bucks. I was having a bit of a look at the menu while waiting. I flipped over to the other side and, oh, surprise, surprise. Monday night is chicken parmigiana night. $18. I was a day too early. Timing, eh? Anyway, the parma came out. It looked alright. Nicely gratinated on top. But you have a bit of a dig, and look at that. The tomato sauce is on the chicken. So I understand why they do that. When you're busy and you grab the tray of parmigianas out from underneath the salamander, if you got the ham on first, then the tomato sauce, then the cheese, sometimes all the ham, cheese, tomato will just slide off the top of it onto the floor. You then got a massive mess to clean up. So what they do is they put the tomato sauce on first, and it kind of glues the ham and the cheese onto the schnitzel, so that doesn't happen. But that does not make it the correct thing to do. The ham has to go on first, Otherwise you end up with soggy crumbs on the Parmigiana. As you can see, it's a little bit dark around the edges that weren't covered by the ham and cheese. I'll tell you about that later. It wasn't burnt on the bottom at all. It was only just a bit dark on the top. The chips looked a bit how's your father, but they actually tasted pretty good, and I suspect they're actually homemade chips. So I'm not going to have a whinge about that, as they were pretty nice. Now, when I was watching through the little hole in the wall while they were putting everything together, and they made up a few Parmigianas at once and stuck them underneath the salamander and pulled the tray out, served up the Parmigianas for the big table, stuck one Parmigiana back up underneath the salamander, keep it warm until they got the big table out, and that just happened to be mine. So yeah, a little bit burnt on the top around the edges because of that, and it was rather dry. So the salad, yep, what can I say, pretty typical pub salad. Bit of mesclun, a few other bits and pieces, some dressing that looks like cum. What else is there to say? The parma, it was dry. It's just been dried out from being under the salamander too long. The Imperial aioli that came with it kind of helped a little bit, but it was pretty salty. Now I know you make your own aioli. It's good they're not just using garlic out of a jar. They're crushing their own garlic. It needs salt to crush it and grind it up properly, turn it into a paste. So, alright, it happens, but it did taste a little bit too salty. It was perfect with the chips though. The salad, it was actually better than your normal pub salad. It had more mesclun in it, and there was no alfalfa to be seen at all. A lot of places they'll fill it up with alfalfa because it's a lot cheaper than the mesclun. This one didn't have any mesclun. It had lots of mesclun. It didn't have any alfalfa. And on top of that, to make it even better, it didn't have much red onion. The red onion is bitter. It ruins the salad, makes it unpleasant to eat. This one only had a few little bits just to lift it. A lot of places just overkill with red onion. Anyway, Imperial Hotel Eumundi chicken Parmigiana. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, I reckon. If I was to go back and try it again, it'd be on the Monday night when they got it cheap. I wouldn't go back and pay full price again. Anyway, on to the next one.